Did someone capture a sleep paralysis demon lurking in the corner of their bedroom? Did these parents snap a photo of their son playing with his imaginary friend? And hear what happened in Texas when a man in a devil mask showed up on a family's doorstep. These are terrifying real devil sightings caught on camera. Did someone capture a shadow person on camera lurking over their bed? This video comes from Carrie E on YouTube, who noticed something terrifying on her home smart camera. Clearly, there's this dark black shape standing in the corner of the room. And at first I didn't really think much of this. I mean, it's not hard to put on some dark clothes and lurk in a corner, but then it moves, and that's when you notice just how unnatural this thing really is. It zips across the room so fast, and in such a smooth, unnatural motion. This is clearly not a person. On top of that, watch how blurry it becomes. It doesn't look like a solid mass anymore. If you've ever had sleep paralysis and felt like something was standing over you or sitting on your chest and restricting your breathing, well, this video probably ain't gonna help you sleep any better, so sorry about that. Did you ever have an imaginary friend growing up? Do you have pleasant memories of said imaginary friend? Well, this next story may make you look back on your childhood a little differently. This photo here was shared online years ago. It looks pretty innocuous, 2 kids playing, but the thing is, there was only one youngster present at the time. At least that's what the parents thought. They were watching their son playing in the living room, saying he was talking with his imaginary friend Pauline. Dad snapped a picture, and when they looked back at it, they nearly screamed. Something else was clearly in the room, at least the camera picked something up. And the closer you look at this mysterious figure, the creepier it becomes. The eyes, the smile. Not only does it look unnatural, it has this air of aggression about it. Pretty creepy photo. So this happened back in January in Texas, just outside of Dallas. 2 homeowners were left terrified after someone showed up at their house wearing a red satanic mask and holding a cardboard sign that said Revelation 21:15. If you know that Bible passage, it's all about the apocalypse, judgment day, that kind of thing. So the devil mask is bad enough, but it's really not the message you want showing up right on your front porch. The whole thing was caught on their doorbell camera. It happened around 8 p.m. on a Saturday. You could see the person dressed in all black standing there a few feet from the door, completely still. They ring the doorbell, wait a few seconds, then knock, and when no one answers, they just walk around the side of the house and stand there in the driveway, still holding the sign. The homeowners were not home at the time. They'd gone out to dinner, but they saw the footage later and they freaked out. "I'm scared," the homeowner told CBS. "I'm scared to leave the house. I'm scared to be at the house." She also said, "It's about the end times. It's about Judgment Day. I freaked out." Police looked into it and said the masked person hadn't been seen at any other homes in the area and technically didn't commit a crime. Still, they said they'd keep an eye on the neighborhood just in case. And a little message to viewers here. Probably not the best idea to knock on some random person's door wearing a devil mask in Texas. Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyway.
Number 5. Robert Johnson. Robert Johnson was an American blues musician from the early 20th century who, as legend has it, acquired his musical powers from a midnight deal with the devil. Born in 1911, Robert grew up alongside the Mississippi Delta. As a young man, he yearned for musical greatness and one night took his guitar to the crossroads in hopes of conjuring dark forces. The devil appeared and took Robert's guitar, played a few songs, and then handed it back, granting the young musician complete mastery of the instrument. The story thus explained Robert's extraordinary skill. It also led to rumors that Robert's drooping eye spoke of an infernal connection, and that he turned away from his audience while performing to hide the presence of evil. Now, Robert did very little to discourage these stories. If anything, he played into it with lyrics such as, "Early this morning when you knocked upon my door, and I said, 'Hello, Satan, I believe it's time to go.'" Now, in 1938, he died under mysterious circumstances at the age of 27. Some say he succumbed to syphilis, others poisoning, whereas others contended it was the devil himself collecting his due. 4. Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa. In the 1500s, Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa was a scholar who devoted his life to writing about the occult. In his books, he mentioned the devil a lot and breaks down exactly how witches perform magic spells. You may be wondering how exactly he got all his information, and well, he claimed that when he was a young man, he gave in to the temptations of the devil and learned how to perform magic by following around groups of witches. He apparently then found Jesus and managed to save his own soul. He wrote his books in order to teach others to keep the devil at bay. During his lifetime, he published 8 huge books about the occult. Even though he was so public about being friends with the devil, he was never put to death for witchcraft. Perhaps he was seen as publishing such valuable information on how to battle the devil, they just wanted to keep him alive to learn more. While it would seem that he would have been promoting witch hunts in the church, he actually pushed for people to be more sympathetic and understanding. He wanted to try to help save them from the devil's grasp and have God save them through prayer, rather than burning them at the stake. Lifesaver. Another online user had this to say when it came to meeting the devil. It actually wasn't that scary, he actually saved my life. I was being attacked by a bunch of demons and he literally snapped his fingers and blew them up. I can't get him to go away now. Everywhere I look, he is there, but not in a threatening way. More like a guardian angel way. I prefer his brother Gabriel though because he is very funny. I'm not kidding. He is sitting next to me right now. I know it must seem like I'm crazy or something or just making fun of the question, but I'm not. I'm being dead serious. John Fian. John Fian was a doctor and school teacher who was declared as a notorious sorcerer. He confessed to having a compact with Satan during the North Berwick witch trials in Scotland, which he confessed to King James as the trial proceedings were taking place, but later promised that he would renounce his compact with Satan and vow to lead the life of a Christian. But the next morning, he confessed the devil came to him in his cell dressed all in black and holding a white wand, demanding John continue his faithful service, according to his first oath and promise that he made. John testified that he renounced Satan to his face, saying, "Get thee behind me, thou Satan, and start pushing, for I have listened too much to thee, and by the same thou hast undone me, in respect whereof I will utterly undo you." He confessed that the devil then answered, "That once ere thou die, thou shalt be mine." The devil afterwards broke the white wand and immediately vanished from his sight. John then was given a chance to lead the life he promised, but the same night he stole a key to his cell and escaped. He was eventually captured and tortured until his execution on January 27th, 1591. And coming in at number 1 is General Jonathan Moulton. General Jonathan Moulton was born in the month of July 1726 and was not always extraordinarily wealthy. In the year 1749, he married his first wife and had 11 children with her. He soon settled in Hampton, Virginia, and surprisingly got filthy rich in no time. His sudden accumulation of so much wealth in such a short amount of time came as a surprise to the poor neighborhood, and it was alleged that he had made deals with the devil. Locals alleged that he had made a contract with the devil in which the devil was supposed to give him a boot full of gold. But Jonathan tore open the sole of the boot so that the boot would never be full of gold. When the devil learned that he was being tricked, he took revenge on him in the strangest way possible that cemented the face that they made a deal. Upon his death at the age of 61 years, his body went missing from the coffin, and instead the coffin was filled with gold coins, having the seal of Satan himself. The locals buried the gold-filled coffin anyway. His body was never found, and no grave mark was put in its place. And at number 10 is Herman the Recluse. The Codex Gigas was published in the early 13th century and is written by Herman the Recluse, a monk who broke his monastic vow and was sentenced to be walled up alive. Now, in order to try and escape his dire fate, he promised to write a book that would glorify the monastery forever, a book that contained the entire knowledge of the universe. Now, Herman the Recluse was given one try to complete the book, and if he hadn't finished it by dawn, the sentence would be executed. Realizing by midnight that the task was impossible, Herman turned to the devil, who helped him finish the book for the price of his soul. Now, this book is also referred to as the Devil's Bible due to a fully colored portrait of Satan taking up a whole page. And when I say whole page, I mean a full 36-inch page. Now, the page next to the illustration contains a full description of the kingdom of heaven, and some say that Satan's portrait is his own signature, and others believe that Herman drew the portrait himself as a thanks. 9. Oliver Cromwell. In 1651, on the eve of the Battle of Worcester, Oliver Cromwell allegedly met the devil in the woods. An alleged account by Colonel Lindsay, first captain of Oliver Cromwell's own regiment, described how he was taken with Oliver himself into the woods to meet a grave elderly man with a roll of parchment in his hand. This man filled Lindsay with an uncontrollable horror and trembling as he realized who this visitor really was. The aged unknown promised Oliver to have his will then and all things else for 7 years, at which date it would be his, the devil's, turn to complete mastery over Oliver's soul and body. According to the tale, Oliver had argued with the devil over the short span, expecting 21 years. After the bargain was made, Oliver was reputed and have cried out joyously to the colonel, "Now Lindsay, the battle is our own, I long to be engaged." And with remarkable precision, the leader of England's only experiment in Republican government died exactly 7 years later amid terrible storms in September 1658. Psychic. A user online detailed their experience they had with the devil. They said, "A few years ago, I joined a psychic development class. We would hold seances and communicate with dead relatives. I didn't realize that opening myself up to the spirit world would mean communication with dark forces as well as light. For a period of a few weeks, I'd been having strange dreams. I decided to finally hold a seance myself and see who was trying to get in touch with me, and that's when he showed up, Satan. We communicated telepathically for at least half an hour. He said a lot of things I wasn't expecting. He told me God had forsaken our planet, and that's why so many bad things were happening. He said he was disgusted with some of the things happening right now, war, poverty, etc., and was angry that God allowed it to happen. He actually said that he loved humanity and was misunderstood. He wasn't the devil the Bible was talking about. The strangest thing was his appearance. It was not frightening or demonic. To me, he appeared as a young man, no older than 20. He was what most women would consider handsome, around 5'7" and an average build, blonde brown hair and piercing blue-gray eyes. He showed little emotion and was quite factual in the way he spoke. He came across as intelligent, sophisticated, and wise. He had gigantic wings and was surrounded by bright light, almost a completely white aura that radiated out by a few feet. As he appeared, I could hear the most heavenly voices speaking and singing. He was able to mention and recite Bible verses I'd never even heard of or read. Above all else, he did not like to be referred to as the devil. He wants to be known as an archangel and believes that humanity seriously misunderstands him and the spirit world altogether. Number 7. Father Urbain Grandier. In 1632 in Leuton, France, a number of nuns accused Father Urbain Grandier, a Catholic priest, of bewitching them and sending a league of demons to commit vile acts with them. They even had the names of the demons. Now, a trial was quickly conducted by the church and the priest was questioned. During the trial, he was accused of having sexual relationships with many women, and then a document was produced in front of the judges, which was allegedly the contract that Urbain had made with the devil. It had not only the signature of Urbain, but also the signature of several demons, including the devil himself. The contract was written backwards in Latin and translated to the following: "We, the influential Lucifer, the young Satan, Beelzebub, Leviathan, Elmi, and Astaroth, together with others, have today accepted the covenant pact of Urbain Grandier, who is ours. And him do we promise the love of women, the flower of virgins, and respect of monarchs, honors, lusts, and powers. He will go whoring 3 days long. The carousel will be dear to him. He offers us once in the year a seal of blood. Under the feet he will trample the holy things of the church, and he will ask us many questions. With this pact, he will live 20 years happy on the earth of men, and will later join us to sin against God, bound in hell in the council of demons." Now, due to this, Father Urbain Grandier was later burned at the stake for charges of witchcraft. Number 6. Several meetings. When asked if anyone had ever met the devil, this online user said, yes, several times. Meeting and talking with him is not very pleasant. He has a very cold presence. He spoke always with a hint of disdain, like he was constantly mocking. I think I only saw him once where he was being candid, and then I'm probably wrong, and he only wanted me to think that. Either way, it was not my idea of fun to be sitting in the same room with a serious Satan. Now that I think back, I wonder if he puts up a comic front to try to get you to think that he isn't as grim as a person as he really is, using humor as an illusion for warmth. He is definitely a master of distraction and deception, and it can be confusing to talk with him, and I wouldn't recommend trying. Overall, it wasn't the happiest of circumstances I found myself in.
In our number 5 spot today, we have Urbain Grandier. Born in 1590, Urbain was a French Catholic priest who was known as being a little promiscuous with some of the nuns. Look, there's no judgment from me at all, but I'm just saying, the Catholic Church now doesn't like that. I can't imagine pre-1600s Catholic Church just being cool with that, but anyway, it is said that he actually took quite a public stance against the church's view on celibacy. Because of his escapades, there were points where people who had indulged with him were now accusing him of witchcraft and using dark magic in order to tempt them. This led to a trial which did end in acquittal, but France's chief minister did not like Urbain at all. The priest had apparently published some less than kind criticism about him, so naturally he returned the favor and ordered a second trial. This time Urbain was put through some grueling interrogations, and while it certainly was inhumane, it led to the discovery of quite a document. One that was apparently found in his belongings. It was a contract that is said to have been written in Latin and covered with strange symbols. The contract was signed by Urbain as well as several demons, including the devil himself. Basically, the contract promised him the love of women, the respect of monarchs, that sort of thing, in exchange for his allegiance to the devil. In the end, this led to Urbain being found guilty of making a deal with the devil, and he was sentenced to death. In our number 4 spot today, we have Aleister Crowley. This man is quite well known for being the leader of an occult group, and this really does stem back even into his childhood. It is said that quite early on, Aleister started calling himself the Beast and the Antichrist, and he is even quoted as saying that God and Satan fought over his soul. In one of his books he wrote, quote, "I was in the death struggle with self. God and Satan fought for my soul those 3 long hours. God conquered. Now I have only one doubt left. Which of the twain was God?" Many people believe that perhaps he made a deal with Satan, but it is possible that these are just rumblings based on Aleister's teachings and beliefs. In our number 3 spot today, we have Jack Parsons. Jack was a man who was born just a few years prior to the Wright brothers flying the first airplane, and being born at a time like this had him growing up dreaming of and reading sci-fi novels about rocket ships taking people to space. It is said that this love of rocket ships and these dreams of going to space are what led him to summoning the devil in order to make a deal. Jack wanted to sell his soul in exchange for a rocket ship. This deal didn't end up working, but Jack continued to study science as he grew older. Later in life, he stumbled upon the teachings of Aleister Crowley that we just talked about, and this is when he tried his hand at summoning things again. This time he tried to summon a goddess named Babylon that was said to possibly help men get to the moon one day. Technically, in some ways, it worked, because Jack Parsons ended up helping create the jet fuel that is said to still be used today. Maybe it was his original deal with the devil, maybe it was the goddess, or maybe it was just good old passion and drive that did it. I guess that all depends on what you believe. In our number 2 spot today, we have Christoph Hasemann. Back in 1677, Christoph was an artist who was working on a castle in Austria. He was so talented at his job that he had been commissioned by the nobles to do this work. There were rumblings about how he may have sold his soul to the devil, but no one was sure of it until it is said that Christoph confessed. He said he had 9 years prior and that he regretted it very much now and actually wanted an exorcism. They demanded to know if he was a practicing witch, but in the end it was decided that he was not, and that instead the devil just had a really strong hold on him. The local priest began giving Christoph exorcisms, and during these sessions Christoph explained that he had these intense visions where he was coming face to face with the devil, who was in the form of a dragon. The dragon was holding the contract that held Christoph's soul, and this is when he was able to rip it out of the dragon's talons. When he woke up, it seemed as though he was cured. After this, he began painting pictures of the devil, and he even painted a story with multiple panels that told the story of how he sold his soul and how they helped him get it back. In our number 1 spot today we have Antoine Rose. This woman from the 15th century is often credited with our modern day image of a witch riding on a broomstick. She became known as the Witch of Savoy, and she is said to have confessed to regularly meeting with the devil. I mean, let's be honest, history doesn't exactly have a good record with those accused of witchcraft, so it isn't quite clear if this deal with the devil was real, or if perhaps Antoine could just add 1 + 1 and then suddenly she was accused of being a witch and had to find a way to try and defend herself. Legend goes that she was in a position where she was in dire need of money, and when she asked her neighbor for help, they led her to a group of people who convinced her to ask the devil for help. When the devil appeared, he agreed to help her, of course in exchange for her rejection of God and her promise to worship him. Story has it that she said the devil had a low, raspy voice when he appeared to her in human form, and she also apparently said that she was quite afraid of him, which, I don't know, personally makes a lot of sense. Starting off in our number 10 spot we have Johann Faust. According to the stories passed down about this man, it is said that he was an alchemist and astrologer who lived in Germany during the early 1500s. It is said that in his plight to become the smartest man in the world, while also enjoying as many earthly pleasures as possible, he summoned the help of a demon named Mephistopheles. There are terrible stories about how cruel and truly evil this man was, and as a professor, it is said he looked down on everyone else. Local priests apparently believed that he had actually made a deal with the devil in which he sold his soul to him, and there are also other stories that say his pet dog was actually a demon who was able to shapeshift. During his life, he did publish several grimoires, and in 1540, while conducting some sort of alchemic experiment, his laboratory exploded. In our number 9 spot today we have Jonathan Moulton. Jonathan is a man who was born in 1726, and he was known for his military career. He served in King George's War as well as in the French and Indian Wars, but after his service is where this story really starts. Basically, after his time fighting was over, he went on to become one of New England's wealthiest men. This caused heads to swivel and rumors to swirl because this wasn't something that was normally seen. This all gave way for the rumor that Jonathan had struck this luck of fortune because he was actually working with the devil. People began to say that for financial gain, he in turn gave his eternal devotion and even his soul over to the devil. The devil would visit him every month in order to fill up his boot with gold. You know what happens with things like this though, people get greedy. It is said that despite this lavish lifestyle he was already living, he wanted more, and this led him to make the mistake of trying to trick the devil. He cut a hole in the floor above his basement and placed a boot over it, which also had a hole in the heel. Of course, he did this so that when the devil came with the gold, he'd get a whole basement full rather than just the boot. But the devil of course caught on. From there, it is said that the devil burned down Jonathan's house along with all of the gold that lay inside. In our number 8 spot today we have Niccolo Paganini. If you search people who made a deal with the devil, Niccolo is one of the first names that pops up. Niccolo was a professional violinist who was born in 1782. His parents began to send him to lessons when he was just 5 years old, and by age 15 he was already touring the world because he was so talented. What's really interesting about Niccolo and his story, other than his obvious musical genius however, is the rumors surrounding his talent and subsequent recognition. According to some, people believe that his own mother summoned the devil in order for her son to be the extreme talent that he was. There are many modern diagnoses that could potentially explain some of what made Niccolo so talented, and I mean, we all know quite well that sometimes people are just born with extreme talent, but of course in the early 1800s people and their imaginations certainly ran wild. The final reason why people believe he may have made a deal with the devil is because shortly before his death, he was quite sick. The doctors had a feeling he was nearing death, so they sent in a priest to pray over him. When he first saw the priest, it is said that he freaked out and sent the priest away. Many people believe that him pushing the priest away was only a confirmation of the fact that he was working with the devil. In our number 7 spot today we have Theophilus of Adana. For this one we are taking it back a little bit, all all the way to 538 AD. Theophilus of Adna was a cleric in the Roman Catholic Church. So basically one day he was elected to become the new bishop, but he ended up denying the offer, as it is said he wanted a more priestly sort of position instead of one that came with all of that power and responsibility. It is said that he wanted the position of archdeacon, which would have seen him controlling where the donation money went. So apparently, in passing on this bishop position, he thought that if he gave the position to his rival, then his rival should at least be grateful enough to give him the position he wanted, but of course, that did not happen. This new bishop gave away the seat that Theophilus wanted and instead gave him the position of being a humble cleric. This made Theo super angry, and this is when he thought that maybe the church isn't as holy as he once thought they were. This is when he decided to summon the help of Satan. He ended up signing a contract with Satan in his own blood. He denounced Jesus and the Virgin Mary, and it is said that, with the help of Satan, he was once again voted into the bishop position, and this time he accepted. At this point in time, it is said that he felt so guilty he confessed to this deal with the devil, and the priest who he confessed to decided that they should burn the blood-signed contract. For a second, Theo looked up, but then suddenly he collapsed and died. Many people believe that it was because he had broken his contract. In our number 6 spot today, we have Giuseppe Tartini. Giuseppe was an Italian violinist and composer who lived during the 1700s. He went on to compose a song called The Devil's Trill Sonata. Called The Devil's Trill Sonata. And not only this, but he claimed to wake up one night to find Satan sitting on the edge of his bed, playing the violin. Seems as though the devil really likes violins, apparently. What's extremely curious is after this alleged encounter, it is said that Giuseppe's violin skills hit heights never seen before. He was able to suddenly play extremely complicated trills that are impossible for most musicians. Apparently even today the sonata is too difficult for most musicians to play, which is why people believe that perhaps this story really was true.
Number 5. Leviathan. Leviathan became a demon of darkness and chaos and a leader of hell mentioned in the book of Enoch. Leviathan is one of Lucifer's arms and one of the many faces of the devil in Christianity. He is also the representation of the sin envy. Leviathan is a tamer of beasts, a beast collector, and an excellent strategist. He has the power to summon hellish whales that are natural inhabitants of hell and use them in battle. Leviathan appears as a huge sea beast, a very powerful species of a sea serpent dragon. This form is so colossal that it's said to be capable of frightening the bravest of men and is capable of swallowing fishing boats and even ships. Its scales are several small teeth throughout its body, similar to a shark's body. Now in his human form, Leviathan appears as a handsome young man in his late teens. Although the appearance is similar to a human, he has fish gills on his neck and his ears are pointed. He also has a small shark-like teeth that are hidden under a thin layer of skin in his mouth. Like his name suggests, he is a very jealous person, with Lucifer often being the target though. It should be noted that Leviathan's jealousy isn't limited to only him, so you should watch out. Number 4. Lucifer. Lucifer was one of the most beautiful and indescribable beings created by God, with his wisdom and beauty being described as perfect. However, despite being considered a perfect, beautiful, and glorious being by countless angels, Lucifer was extremely proud and rebelled against his father after refusing to bow down to Adam and Eve. Therefore, Lucifer is known as the first sinner, the devil, and the adversary. Now, Lucifer didn't create any angels, only God had that power, but Lucifer did trick some of them into rebelling against God and becoming his followers, claiming that he was more powerful than God and would take God's place as the ruler of the universe. They believed him, and since then Lucifer has used them to do his will. He's known for the deadly sin of pride, and he used his pride to persuade them. I will ascend to heaven, I will raise my throne above the stars of God, I will make myself like the Most High. Isaiah 14. Lucifer also sends the worst people up to earth to wreak havoc and terrorize everyone, as well as tries to tempt non-sinners to the dark side, so be safe. Number 3. Abaddon. Abaddon is considered the ruler of all demons in the 7th layer of hell, violence, and also the commander of the locusts of Abaddon. Now what are the locusts? Well, they're scorpion-tailed warhorses that have a man's face with lion's teeth. They are commanded to torment anyone for 5 months who does not have the seal of God on their forehead by using their scorpion-like tails. So yeah, He rules them. He has eyes as black as night and a huge mouth with many sharp teeth like those of a great white shark. In addition, he wears black armor and his wings have even turned dark. Abaddon is sometimes referred or foreshadowed as death, as they both are neutral entities of two opposing forces. He is also considered both an angel and demon, with neutral and at times lawful agents of both heaven and hell. It is unknown where his allegiance lies. He's often bringing judgment upon people in the name of God, implying that he works for the Almighty. That being said, Abaddon has also caused events that God would never have wanted to happen, let alone the fact that Abaddon helped Lucifer during the war in heaven. Seems like he liked to play both sides. It's also said during Judgment Day he will gather the souls of the damned and carry them down to the place of God's final judgment. Number 2. Asmodeus. Asmodeus is a demon who personifies and represents lust, the sexual sin related to adultery. He is the demon who exists as the arch-rival of the angel of chastity, Gabriel. Asmodeus is also referred to as one of the 7 princes of hell and represents one of the 7 deadly sins, being lust. Asmodeus is a demon of lust and is therefore responsible for twisting people's sexual desires. It is said that people who fall to Asmodeus' ways will be sentenced to an eternity in the 2nd level of hell. He is also a demon of lechery, jealousy, anger, and revenge. In hell, Asmodeus looks human, however he has stark black eyes and 2 rows of sharp teeth sticking out of his mouth. In this form, Asmodeus has no hair on his head, but has a muscular appearance from the waist up and 2 bat wings protruding from his back. From the waist down, he has what looks like kangaroo legs and a long dragon's tail. His horrible appearance is capable of causing fear and repudiation in humans who fall into hell, and that's the demon's intention. And coming up at number 1 is Satan. Satan is a prominent demon in the hierarchy of hell. He is known for bringing evil and temptation and is known as the deceiver who leads humanity astray. Satan is even able to take control of the life of a person in the stead of God, though only to an extent to what God allows. Satan would appear to those who are sinful, playing into their hearts and towing them into despair. He may either be depicted as a rebel to the will of God, or as one who tempts mankind to commit sin to show God that mankind can easily be led astray from him. He is described as the ruler of the demons and the god of this age. In Revelation, Satan appears as a great red dragon who is ultimately banished from heaven by Michael the archangel. Satan is mostly known as the devil, and although the book of Genesis does not mention him, he is often identified with the serpent in the Garden of Eden. Satan is also said to be associated with one of the 7 deadly sins, being wrath, and is one of the 7 princes of hell. Number 10. Legion. Jesus encounters a possessed man and calls on the demon to emerge, demanding to know its name, which is an important element of traditional exorcism practice. He finds the man is possessed by a multitude of demons who give the collective name of Legion. So, yeah, this demon is made of countless evil spirits able to incarnate into a physical body or separate into their respective forms at will. While the types of demons that make up Legion is unknown, they are said to be the same kind of demon that would inhabit a host and would have a single hive mind. Speaking of which, the demons of Legion do act like a hive mind, always speaking in unison and always knowing what the other demon is thinking and preparing to do. Legion appears as a floating sphere that is protected by an outer shell composed of massive innumerable humanoid bodies. This enormous lump of flesh conceals an inner core whose identity can vary. Legion, when possessing a human body, begins to torture the psychological person, making them have depressive and negative thoughts to erase any desire of life from its hosts. Their attitude of possessing human bodies is seen as a horrible act to most angels, as it deprives humans of their only weapon, free will. Number 9. Furfur. Furfur, also known as Furcifer, is a demon who is said to be the Count of Hell, leading 26 legions. He speaks in a hoarse voice, has a fiery tail, and usually appears as a stag. He is said to be able to make men and women fall in love, and also has command over great storms. He gives true answers to all things past, present, and future, but he must first be commanded to enter a magic triangle, for if not, he will lie and deceive the conjurer. But if he enters the triangle, he will answer truly and gladly directly speak about divinity, the creation of the world, himself, and other fallen angels. He can also destroy all the conjurer's enemies by burning them up. And if the magician requests it, he will not suffer temptations from any spirit or in any form. Furfur can also supposedly be called upon when a mortal wishes to take vengeance on other demons. This is likely included in his capability to destroy the conjurer's enemies. And I just gotta say, how scary can a demon be if its name is literally Furfur? It sounds like a name someone would give their cat. Number 8. Beelzebub. Beelzebub is a former Serphian turned into high-ranking demon who is considered one of the 7 princes of hell and oversees the Order of the Fly. In Catholic demonology, he is sometimes considered to be one of the first 3 angels to fall from heaven, along with Lucifer and Leviathan. He is also often confused with Satan, and the 2 names can be interchanged. However, strictly speaking, they are 2 separate entities. Beelzebub is the chief lieutenant of Lucifer and is one of the most loyal. He is commonly described as placed high in the hierarchy of hell and is seen as being associated with envy. He is also the prince of false gods, and flies play a large focus in imagery detailing him. The malignant spirit can even take the form of flies, according to some. I mean, ever heard of Lord of the Flies? Yup, that's him. Number 7. Mammon. Mammon in the New Testament of the Bible is commonly thought to mean money, material wealth, or an entity that promises wealth and is associated with the greedy pursuit of gain. After the rebellion in heaven, Mammon was banished to hell, where he is the one who finds underground precious metals that his demonic companions used to build their capital city, Pandemonium, by Lucifer's order. Mammon counsels the devils to be happy with what they've got and to create a home for themselves in hell. He is one of the 7 princes of hell, each representing the 7 deadly sins. Mammon represents greed and is known as the treasurer of hell, and was said to have had dealings with the Greek deity Zeus. It is thought that when you make a deal with the devil for wealth and fame, you are making it with Mammon. Number 6. Belphegor. Belphegor is a demon lord that presides over the sin of sloth and is one of the 7 princes that rules hell. He also assists people to make discoveries. For example, he seduces people by suggesting to them ingenious inventions that will make them rich, and they wouldn't have to work hard for it. As one of the fallen angels, Belphegor was originally a member of the Order of the Principalities, and after his fall, he became a demonic counterpart to one of the 10 Sephiroth that oversee the Tree of Life. He is the biblical enemy of the 6 Sephiroth, the patron angel of beauty. It's said that if Belphegor were to become too influential in the world, then the beauty of it all would become tainted, causing ruination.
In our number 5 spot today, we have sacrifice. Some depictions of witchcraft involve the sacrifice of animals or humans as part of the ritual. This can be done as a way to appease the devil or to gain favor in exchange for the sacrifice. In reality, the vast majority of practitioners of witchcraft do not engage in animal or human sacrifice, and such practices are widely condemned by mainstream spiritual and religious groups, which feels very important to note. But that's not to say it's never happened before at a terrifying occult ritual. In fictional depictions, the sacrifice of animals or humans is often portrayed as a way to offer something of value to the devil or other demonic entities in exchange for power or favors. The sacrifice may be accompanied by other ritualistic elements, such as the other ones that we've spoken about today. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Ouija board. Ouija boards are a popular divination tool that have been used for over a century to communicate with spirits or entities from the other side. The board consists of letters, numbers, and other symbols, and is often used in conjunction with a planchette, a small device that moves across the board to spell out messages. While Ouija boards are not inherently connected to witchcraft, they have been associated with the practice in pop culture. This association may be due in part to the fact that the boards were originally marketed as a parlor game in the late 19th century, but quickly became associated with the spiritualist movement and other alternative belief systems. In popular culture, witches may use Ouija boards as a means of communicating with the devil or other demonic entities, or to gain insight into the future and other spiritual realms. Just remember, at the end of each Ouija board session, it is imperative to close things and properly say goodbye, or else who knows what might be left in our realm. In our number 3 spot today, we have the special objects. Witches may use specific objects or tools as a part of their ritual. These may include things like crystals, herbs, bones, or other items that are believed to have magical properties or specific energies. The witch may also use ritualistic tools such as a wand or a thame to direct energy or focus their intentions. The use of specific objects and tools is meant to create a certain ambiance or to focus the mind, or maybe based on specific traditions or beliefs. Certain demons may have certain objects associated with them that could ease in appeasing them upon summoning, and some other objects might just be used to help assist in the desired outcome. In our number 2 spot today we have the pact. In fictional depictions of witchcraft, making a pact with the devil is often portrayed as a way for witches to gain supernatural powers or other favors. The pact may involve the witch offering their soul or performing certain tasks for the devil in exchange for these benefits. The ritualistic setting for making a pact with the devil may vary, but often involves a secluded location such as a dark forest or abandoned building. The witch may be required to perform certain tasks or complete specific rituals as a part of the pact making process, which may involve the use of special objects or incantations. The concept of making a pact with a supernatural entity is found in various mythological and folkloric traditions throughout history. In reality, however, the vast majority of practitioners of witchcraft do not engage in such practices, and such pacts are not a common element of mainstream spiritual or religious groups. It is definitely not recommended to make a deal with the devil because things are never as good as they may seem at first. There's always a catch with that contract. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have dancing in a circle. In fictional depictions of witchcraft, dancing in a circle is often portrayed as a key element of a ritual meant to summon the devil or other demonic entities. The circle may be drawn on the ground or formed by the witches holding hands, and the dancing may be accompanied by chanting, singing, or the playing of musical instruments. The purpose of the circle dance is often to create a certain energy or atmosphere and to symbolize the unity of the witches in their goal of summoning the devil. The circle may also serve as a protective barrier, keeping the witches safe from any negative energies or entities that may be summoned. Many believe that using movement and rhythm helps with the purpose of summoning demonic entities, and when attempting to summon the ruler of hell himself, you definitely need to bring out all the stops. Starting off this list at our number 10 spot, we have the Witch's Sabbath. The Witch's Sabbath is a concept in Western European folklore that describes a gathering of witches for a demonic and magical ritual. It was the meeting of the witches. It is said that during the Sabbath, witches would engage in acts of heresy, including devil worship, flesh consumption, and even sexual parties. The event was believed to take place on the night of a full moon, often in remote areas such as mountaintops or crossroads. The concept of the Witch's Sabbath gained popularity during the witch hunt era of the late Middle Ages and the early modern period, with many people accused of witchcraft being accused of attending such gatherings. The idea of the Sabbath was used as evidence of the devil's influence on witches and as a justification for the persecution and execution of those accused. In our number 9 spot today, we have potions. Alright, every time I see like the classic folklore depiction of a witch, I always wonder what it is that they're stirring up in that cauldron. It's bubbling, it's boiling, it's steaming. What is it? A potion, of course. Witches may drink a potion as part of a ritual meant to summon the devil or other supernatural entities. The potion may be made from a variety of ingredients, including herbs, animal parts, or even human blood. The purpose of the potion is often to induce a state of altered consciousness or heightened awareness, allowing the witch to communicate with the otherworldly entities they seek to summon. The ritualistic setting for drinking a potion may vary, but often involves a secluded location. You know, for an occult ritual, we need that eerie setting. The witch may be required to perform certain tasks or complete specific rituals before or after drinking the potion, and the concept of using psychoactive substances as part of a ritual or religious practice is found in various real-world traditions throughout history. However, the summoning of the devil is not a common practice. In our number 8 spot today, we have drawing a pentagram. The pentagram is one of the most recognizable symbols when it comes to all things occult, and drawing a pentagram is a ritualistic act commonly used in magical practices as a way to create a protective barrier or to invoke supernatural forces such as the devil himself. The pentagram is a 5-pointed star, often drawn with a circle around it, and each point represents one of the elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. The pentagram is believed to have protective properties, and drawing it is often done as a way to banish negative energy or spirits, but in some magical traditions, traditions, the pentagram is also used to invoke spirits or deities, with each point representing a different aspect of the entity being invoked. The ritual of drawing a pentagram may involve specific movements, such as walking around the perimeter of the pentagram while reciting an incantation, more on that later. While the use of the pentagram has been associated with witchcraft and the occult in popular culture, it is also used in various other spiritual and religious practices. In our number 7 spot today, we have lighting candles. Candles are often used to create a certain ambiance, a vibe, to symbolize different aspects of the ritual and to invoke spiritual energy or entities. The use of specific colors of candles is believed to have different meanings and may be chosen based on the purpose of the ritual. For example, green candles may be used to attract wealth or abundance, while white candles may be used to represent purity or to invite divine energy. If you want to summon the devil, would you use red? I don't know. In some traditions, candles may also be used to represent the elements, with different colors representing earth, air, fire, and water. The act of lighting candles can also be a way to focus the mind and create a sacred space for the ritual. And by lighting candles, the practitioner may be able to connect with the inner self or the higher spiritual energies and to bring their intentions into focus. So I guess next time you're smelling candles before you buy them, think of what scent the devil might be. I feel like he has some notes of cinnamon and brimstone coming this fall to a Bath & Body Works near you. In our number 6 spot today, we have incantations. An incantation is a series of words or phrases that are believed to have a certain power or effect, often in a language that is not commonly spoken, like Latin, for example. The recitation of incantations can be a way to focus the mind and to channel spiritual energy, and it is often accompanied by specific movements or gestures. Or I guess in the case of witches, it could sort of act like a magical spell vibe. In some traditions, the incantation may be sung or chanted in a repetitive manner, creating a hypnotic or trance-like state. The purpose of reciting they're just cantations now. The purpose of reciting incantations can vary widely, from attracting love or prosperity to banishing negative energy or entities, or to summon entities. The use of incantations is often based on the belief that words have a certain power or vibration, and that by speaking certain words, the practitioner can tap into this power and create a desired outcome. Sort of like manifesting, but I guess it's like manifesting the devil. In our number 5 spot today, we have the Kabiri Mysteries. The Kabiri Mysteries refer to a set of ancient Greek religious practices and rituals associated with the Kabiri deities, a group of enigmatic gods worshipped in various regions of Greece, particularly on the island of Samothrace. The mysteries involved secretive initiation ceremonies that were performed exclusively by the initiated members of the cult and were believed to impart special knowledge and spiritual power to the participants. It's one of the most secretive religious groups in history, and the exact nature of the group remains the subject of intense debate among scholars because there is so little information to go on. It is generally believed that the cult was closely connected to the cults of Demeter and Persephone, and that the initiation rites involved elements of mysticism, fertility rites, and underworld symbolism. This mystery group exerted a significant influence on the development of Greek religion and culture, and were celebrated by various communities throughout the Hellenistic world. Despite the mystery that shrouds them, the Kabiri Mysteries continues to fascinate scholars and enthusiasts alike, offering a tantalizing glimpse into the ancient religious practices of Greece. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Church of Satan. The Church of Satan is a religious organization founded in 1966 by Anton LaVey. Despite its name, the Church of Satan does not worship Satan as a deity, but rather advocates for individualism, self-indulgence, and rational thinking. LaVey created the Church of Satan as a reaction to what he saw as the hypocrisy of mainstream religion and the repressive nature of society at the time. The Church of Satan's philosophy is centered around the concept that Satan is a symbol of rebellion and individual freedom. Members believe in indulging in their desires and pursuing their own happiness as long as it doesn't harm others. The church also promotes the idea of magic as a tool for self-improvement and self-realization. Heard that's where the demon summoning comes in. understand. Demons aren't all bad, some can be helpful, you just need to know what you're doing. Of course, with a name like the Church of Satan, you're gonna face some controversy, and this group certainly has received its fair share of criticism over the years, with many accusing it of promoting evil and immorality. The organization maintains that it is a legitimate religion with a unique philosophy and worldview. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Temple of Set. The Temple of Set is a religious organization that was founded in 1975 by Michael Aquino, a former member of the Church of Satan. Wow, what a crazy connection. The Temple of Set is based on the philosophy of Setianism, and the group mainly focuses on the worship of Set, an ancient Egyptian deity associated with chaos, strength, and individuality. The Temple of Set is unique among religious organizations in that it places a strong emphasis on individualism and self-realization. It also incorporates elements of ancient Egyptian religion, as well as ideas from other Western esoteric traditions. Members of the Temple of Set are encouraged to pursue knowledge and self-discovery through practices such as meditation, ritual magic, and intellectual inquiry. The organization is very secretive and very exclusive, with membership only available through invitation. While believing in and worshipping the deity, those who belong to this group also believe in the existence of demons and other supernatural entities. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Manson family, started by the horrible Charles Manson. This story starts off when Manson was released from prison in 1967, where he then moved to San Francisco, where he gained a small following that would eventually go on to be the cult known as the Family. This charismatic yet very unstable ex-convict attracted a group of young and vulnerable followers who believed he was a messianic figure with profound insights into society and the future of humanity. And not only this, but they also believed that he had supernatural powers as well. The group eventually moved to an abandoned ranch outside of Los Angeles, and it was here that Manson continued to brainwash his followers and manipulate them with his own religious philosophies. Manson's followers carried out these brutal killings under his instructions, which he claimed were a part of a twisted plan to incite a race war he called Helter Skelter. In the end, Manson and several of his followers were eventually arrested and charged for the crimes, with a trial that was highly publicized. Manson's bizarre behavior and manipulative tactics in court further solidified his reputation as a deranged cult leader, and the story of this cult has had a lasting impact on American culture and continues to fascinate and absolutely horrify people to this day. Finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar, also known as the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, was a medieval Christian military order that was founded in the 12th century to protect pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land during the Crusades. The order became known for their bravery and skill in battle, and they quickly gained wealth and power throughout Europe. The Knights Templar became one of the most influential and respected organizations of their time, with members including knights, monks, and priests who took vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. They were known for their distinctive white mantles with a red cross and their motto, "Not to us, Lord, not to us, but to your name give glory." However, their power and wealth eventually became a threat to some European monarchs and the church, which many claim led to their downfall. The Knights Templar were disbanded in the early 14th century, especially since they were being accused of heresy and devil worship by the Catholic Church. Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the Ordo Templi Orientis. The Ordo Templi Orientis is a controversial esoteric organization that was founded in the early 20th century by Karl Kellner and Theodor Reuss in Germany. Originally meant to be modeled after and associated with European Freemasonry, under the leadership of famous occultist Aleister Crowley, the group had a change in philosophy to be more aligned with Crowley's principles of Thelema. The cult is known for its secretive nature and controversial practices, including the use of ritualistic magic and sexual practices as a means of spiritual advancement. The organization has a hierarchical structure and emphasizes the importance of individualism and personal freedom. Of course, like with most cults, there are some controversial practices, but despite this controversy, the group has attracted a following among those interested in occultism and alternative spirituality. In our number 9 spot today, we have the Order of the Black Sun. The Order of the Black Sun is a secretive and controversial cult that has been the subject of much speculation and debate in recent years. Founded in the early 20th century, the group is believed to be based in Europe and has been linked to a number of bizarre and disturbing practices, including human sacrifice, occult rituals, and the worship of ancient deities. Members of the cult are said to be highly secretive and tightly knit, secret, with their activities shrouded in mystery and hidden from public view. Many have claimed that the Order of the Black Sun is involved in a wide range of illegal and nefarious activities that include high-level crimes, as well as the manipulation of political and financial systems for their own gain. Many people claim that this group was founded by Heinrich Himmler and that its members included many high-ranking SS officers. People also have suggested that this cult attempted to use demon summoning as a way to help them win World War II. Even the demons were like, no, absolutely not. Despite numerous investigations into the group, very little concrete information is known about the Order of the Black Sun, and many questions remain unanswered about their true motives and activities. However, what is certain is that this enigmatic cult continues to captivate and intrigue people around the world, with many eager to uncover the truth about this very shadowy organization. In our number 8 spot today, we have the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club was a notorious secret society that existed in Britain during the 18th century. It was an extensive club that included some of the wealthiest and most influential people of the time, including politicians, aristocrats, and members of the royal family. The club was known for its very decadent parties, which were said to involve heavy drinking and gambling and all of the things people think these elite secretive parties hold. However, there were also rumors of more sinister activities, such as satanic rituals and human sacrifice. The Hellfire Club was shrouded in secrecy, and its members went to great lengths to keep their activities hidden from the public. However, their reputation as a group of debauched and immoral individuals eventually caught up with them, and they became the subject of scandalous rumors and gossip. Today, the legacy of the Hellfire Club lives on in pop culture, with many books, movies, TV shows featuring references to the group and their supposed activities. Despite these references, though, the true nature of the club's activities remain a mystery to this day. We're just left to speculate and come up with conspiracy theories. Drop your best one down below. In our number 7 spot today, we have the Order of the Nine Angels. This culty cult is a controversial and secretive organization that has been associated with the occult, Satanism, as well as having ties to some pretty controversial, hateful, and horrible beliefs. The group's origins are murky, but it is believed to have been founded in the United Kingdom in the 1970s. The ONA claims to be based on the principles of traditional Satanism and advocates for a return to pre-Christian pagan society. The teachings of the group are said to be highly esoteric and involve a very complex system of rituals, beliefs, and practices, which sounds really cool and mysterious until you hear that the group has been accused of promoting violence, extremism, and hate. Many people have accused the group of practicing black magic, as well as using the practice of summoning demons, and apparently this group has even been able to be linked to horrifying crimes, which include killings. Because of the nature of the controversy surrounding this group, its teachings have been banned in several countries, but despite these bans, the group continues to operate in secret, with its members communicating online and in private meetings. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was a mystical and magical organization that emerged in the late 19th century in England. It was founded by 3 prominent figures: William Wynne Westcott, Samuel Liddell McGregor Mathers, and William Robert Woodman. All 3 of these guys were fascinated by the esoteric teachings of ancient civilizations and sought to create a system that combined spiritual and mystical practices. The order drew upon various mystical and occult traditions, including Kabbalah, alchemy, astrology, and tarot, in order to create a comprehensive system of magical practices. Its teaching emphasized personal development, spiritual evolution, and the attainment of spiritual knowledge and enlightenment. The order's rituals and teachings were highly secretive and were only accessible to members who had undergone a rigorous initiation process. Its members included prominent figures such as Aleister Crowley, of course, W.B. Yeats, and Arthur Edward Waite, who went on to make significant contributions to the fields of mysticism and occultism. Despite the relatively short existence of this group, the order has had a profound impact on modern Western esotericism and continues to inspire spiritual seekers and magicians legend to this day.
Number 5. TikTok doctor. Once, a man who was pronounced dead by his doctor after being injured said that rather than seeing a bright light and the feeling of coming home, he instead saw hell itself and met the devil. A doctor took to TikTok to explain that he encountered a young man in his early 20s who had been stabbed in the heart after being involved in a deal that went wrong. Not willing to let the man die, medical staff took the victim into surgery, kept him from losing too much blood, and treated the wound in his heart. The doctor remembers the man waking up 4 hours later and crying, claiming that he went straight down to hell and looked straight in the eyes of the devil. The man said he could see the doctors working to save his life, and having never prayed before, gave it a try, at which point an angel pulled him back up out of hell. Remembering how clear the man had been, the doctor said it was the most amazing experience because he was legit. I mean, nobody makes up an experience like that. The last I heard, he's completely changed his life, he gave his life to God, and I still to this day, the look in his eyes when he woke up, the terror, I'm absolutely convinced he did meet the devil. Number 4. Working for the devil. Gilles de Rais was originally hailed a hero of France for his role in the 100 Years' War, a time during which he served as a comrade in arms to Joan of Arc, but the nobleman Gilles de Rais lived a secret, gruesome second life where he enjoyed ending the lives of people who couldn't defend themselves. In September 1440, de Rais was arrested after an almost decade-long spree in which he may have ended the lives of over 140 victims. During his trial, both de Rais and several of his servants/accomplices confessed to their evil deeds. Besides ending people's lives, he also admitted to engaging in Satanism by reportedly summoning the devil and his demonic minions. While the nobleman refused to sell his soul, he offered the blood and organs of his victims in exchange for knowledge and power over the dark arts. Number 3. God wanted her to see hell. Josefa Menendez was a young Spanish sister who had a short religious life of great suffering and experienced many revelations throughout her life. More than once she was taken to hell to witness and feel the suffering firsthand. Sister Josefa was reluctant to write on the subject of hell, and did so only to conform to her Lord's wishes. She wrote about her experiences in her journal, and she described it as the greatest torment of hell, namely the soul's inability to love. She wrote, "One of these damned souls cried out, 'This is my torture, that I want to love and cannot. There is nothing left me but hatred and despair. If one of us could so much as make a single act of love, but we cannot, we live on hatred." As mentioned, she went to hell multiple times, but one time she saw the devil. She wrote, "Souls were crying out and the devil answered, 'Insinuate yourselves by including carelessness in them, but keep in the background so that you are not found out. Tempt these others into ambition, into self-interest, to acquiring wealth without working, whether it be lawful or not." That entry was from February 3rd, 1923. She visited hell many times after that, but didn't report on seeing the devil again. And that sounds absolutely terrifying. Number 2. In a coma. Will Carroll is a drummer who has been in the band Death Angel since 2009 and has provided the drum tracks for their last 4 studio albums. After spending nearly 2 weeks in a coma fighting Will revealed that during his battle with the virus, he saw the afterlife, where he would be sent to hell and meet Satan. The illness left him in a critical state where he was put on a ventilator while lying unconscious in a California Pacific Medical Center hospital bed for 12 days before recovering. He said that the devil would punish him for the deadly sin of sloth. The musician said Satan would transform him into a creature similar to that of Star Wars' Jabba the Hutt, and that he would vomit blood until he ultimately had a heart attack. Will told the San Francisco Chronicle that what he went through allowed him to change some of his typical lifestyle habits, including his once heavy alcohol and illegal substance use. "I'm also going to listen to satanic metal though," he joked, but he later admitted that after beating COVID-19, he doesn't think Satan's quite as cool as he used to. And coming up at number 1, The Devil Made Me Do It. Sound familiar? It's because the third Conjuring movie has the same title. This film is inspired by the real events that took place with Arnie Johnson. Ed and Lorraine Warren were helping exorcise a possessed boy named David Glatzel in the early 80s. David's family had seen him being beaten and choked by invisible hands, and that red marks had appeared on his neck afterwards. David had started to growl, hiss, speak in otherworldly voices, and recite passages from the Bible as well. They did many exorcisms on David, and Lorraine said that David levitated, ceased breathing for a time, and even demonstrated the supernatural ability of precognition. During his exorcisms, there was also a rocking chair in the room that would allegedly rock on its own, levitate, and even vanish and reappear. David and Lorraine also claimed to have seen the devil sitting in it. Arnie then coerced one of the demons to possess him while participating in one of David's exorcisms. Afterwards, Arnie's personality changed. He would fall into a trance-like state where he would growl and hallucinate, but later have no memory of it. Then one day, his and his girlfriend Debbie's landlord was drunk and misbehaving, so Ernie ended his life. The day after the incident, Lorraine Warren informed the Brookfield police that Ernie was possessed when the crime was committed. The case then went on to trial, where Ernie's defense was demonic possession and the devil made me do it. The jury deliberated for 15 hours over 3 days before convicting Ernie of first-degree manslaughter. He was sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison, though he only served 5. Number 10. The violinist. It's been long said that successful artists have made a deal with the devil, and this has been going on for hundreds of years. An Italian violinist named Giuseppe Tartini claimed the devil appeared to him in a dream and played for him the most incredible piece of music he had ever heard. Here is how he described the experience. One night in the year 1713, I dreamed I had made a pact with the devil for my soul. Everything went as I wished. My new servant anticipated my every desire. Among other things, I gave him my violin to see if he could play. How great was my astonishment on hearing a sonata so wonderful and so beautiful, played with such great art and intelligence as I had ever even conceived in my boldest flights of fantasy. Upon waking, Giuseppe tried to recreate it, and that became his magnum opus, known as the Devil's Trill Sonata. Number 9. Exorcism gone wrong. In 1997, Father Gabriel Amorth conducted his exorcisms in Rome, and he asked for the help of Jesus, and the young man he was dealing with began to curse and spit, and started using English instead of his native Italian. Screaming and howling, the demon burst forth and looked straight at him, drooling saliva from the young man's mouth. Father Gabriel said he returned fire with prayers and other ritual recitations, demanding that the demon reveal its name. He said, "Unclean spirit, whoever you are and all your companions who possess this servant of God, I command you, tell me your name, the day and the hour of your damnation." The man fixed him with a glare, snarled, and said, "I am Lucifer." Father Gabriel was shocked. He did not expect to receive such a terrifying response. The father mostly used prayers as his weapon, reciting verses of liberation from the Roman rite of exorcism. As Father Gabriel continually commanded the demon to leave the host, it eventually left, but my goodness, that sounds absolutely terrifying. Number 8. Witch trials. Sarah Good was one of the first 3 women to be accused of witchcraft in the Salem witch trials, which occurred in 1692 in Massachusetts. On March 25th, 1692, Sarah was tried for witchcraft, and when she was brought in, the accusers immediately began to rock back and forth and moan, seemingly in response to Sarah's presence. Later in the trial, one of the accusers fell into a fit. Now, Sarah denied the allegations against her, but another woman on trial admitted to being the devil's servant. She stated that a tall man dressed in all black came to them, demanding they sign their names in a great book. Although initially refusing, she eventually wrote her name after Sarah, and another woman forced her to. When Sarah was allowed the chance to defend herself in front of the 12 jurors in the Salem Village Meeting House, she argued her innocence, proclaiming that the other 2 were the real witches. In the end, however, Sarah was convicted of witchcraft and sentenced to death. So, did she really meet the devil, or was she innocent? Who knows? Number 7. Strayed from the path. This is the testimony of Jennifer Perez, who was brought up in a Christian home. She strayed from that path, got into drugs, died, and was sent to hell. Fortunately, she was given a second chance, but this is her story. She was in the hospital and her spirit woke up, but her body didn't. As a spirit, 2 men dressed in red approached her and told her to come with them. She went to heaven and saw the Lord and 2 angels, Gabriel and Michael. She and Gabriel went through a black door, and it was dark and they were falling. The farther they fell, the hotter it was, and she said it smelled like sulfur. They got to the bottom and she realized that she was in hell, seeing people being tortured by various demons. The cries and torture scared her, and then she saw a massive red creature in the middle of it all just watching everything. She assumed that this was the devil, and it terrified her. After this, she then ascended back to heaven and was asked for a second chance. She then woke up in the hospital, alive, and devoted the rest of her life to God. Number 6. Mom met the devil. A user on Reddit posted this story about the time their mother met the devil. They said, "My mom told me a story of when she met the devil. She was in high school, she had a friend who was dating an older man. He was probably 20 to 30 years older than her, and he gave her a necklace. Not wanting to get caught by her parents, she gave the necklace to my mom. She wore it, and that night when my mom slept, she dreamt of a man. Clean cut and handsome, but disturbingly evil. She said all she knew about the man was that he was pure evil. He came up to her face, eyes locked on her, stone cold and expressionless, reached for her neck and grabbed the necklace from her neck and twirled it in a circle in the air like a witch's pendant. She jolted awake and couldn't feel the necklace, and in a panic she looked all around for the necklace and found it under her pillow in a perfect spiral."
In our number 5 spot today, we have the meditation. This story comes from someone online who starts off by explaining that they accidentally summoned a demon once and it was a huge mistake. They say that it all started when they were meditating with some stones that a friend had given them. They say that the stones were polished and given to them in a medicine bag. When they went to meditate, they were holding 4 in each hand, just letting their mind wander, when they felt something or someone slam into their back. After this, they heard demonic laughter and a bunch of banging upstairs when there shouldn't have been anyone up there. They immediately blew out their candle and left the house. When they returned to the house later, they explained that this is when they started to see shadow crawlers all over the walls. The strange occurrences continued as they would hear the sound of children laughing in their home despite no children being there, and things would suddenly disappear only to be found later in places that had already been checked. They finished this story by saying that they ended up fleeing the house one night and burning it down, never to look back. I'm gonna be honest, not sure about the whole burning the house down thing. Seems maybe a little illegal, but I guess all is fair in the world of demonology. In our number 4 spot today, we have Zozo. This story comes from the Reddit user Archaic Alchemy, who we'll call A. When A was 22, they were staying with their sister, and one night they had a couple good friends over to hang out and play around with a Ouija board, which is always the start of a good demon story. A had read about people encountering an entity called Zozo, and A really just wanted some proof that things exist beyond our physical realm, so they really wanted to use the Ouija board. Everyone places their hand on the planchette and A calls out to Zozo. It took a few attempts before anything happened, but then the planchette began to move in figure 8s. No matter what was asked, it just kept moving in this pattern until it finally spelled out M-A-M-A. A kept asking who they were talking to, and eventually they spelled out Zozo, and then things really escalated. The planchette was taken to the letters to spell out kill you, and when A asked who, they spelled out one of the friends' names. They didn't take it seriously and kept asking more questions, and one friend made the mistake of insulting Zozo. The planchette begins frantically moving through the alphabet backwards over and over before it stops. Then the energy in the room completely drops, and A knows that this means that Zozo has manifested itself. Suddenly A begins to laugh maniacally with no control over it. A could feel Zozo's presence inside and could feel Zozo turning all of this hatred and anger towards the friend that had been named before. A's emotions suddenly completely switched and they began crying uncontrollably before again suddenly snapping back to anger. A's head turns involuntarily to look at the friend with a menacing grin as A pushes the planchette towards this friend. The friends decide it's rightfully time to leave, and shortly after they left, A felt like they regained control again and Zozo's presence had disappeared. I'm very glad that nothing even crazier happened and that Zozo wasn't able to end up harming this friend in the end. In our number 3 spot today, we have Giuseppe Tartini. Okay, so this story is one that is kind of similar to Nicolo's, but even more strange. Giuseppe was an Italian violinist and composer who lived during the 1700s. He went on to compose a song called The Devil's Trill Sonata, and not only this, but he also claimed to wake up one night to find Satan sitting on the edge of his bed, playing the violin. Seems as though the devil really likes violins, apparently. What's extremely curious is that after this alleged encounter, it is said that Giuseppe's violin skills hit heights never seen before. He was able to suddenly play extremely complicated trills that are impossible for most musicians. Apparently even today the sonata is too difficult for many musicians to play, which is why people believe that perhaps this story really was true. In our number 2 spot today we have the Gray Skin Demon. This story comes from Pink Magic 724 on Reddit, and it is about a night that they had a few years ago while still in college. Pink Magic's best friend of many years was in town, so they went out for a dinner to catch up and spend some time together. They of course ended up getting a bit caught up, as best friends do, and before they know it, it's around 2 AM and definitely time for them to head home. Pink Magic's friend was the one who drove, so they headed off to Pink Magic's house. They're at an intersection waiting for the light to turn green when Pink Magic turns their head and looks out the window into the car next to them. This is when she sees the person next to them is looking directly back at them, but this person has gray skin, completely black eyes with no white, and they're smiling but their teeth are long and sharp. Whoever or whatever this thing is will not break eye contact. Pink Magic tries to scream, but no sound will come out. I've had that nightmare before, and eventually the friend sees this creature too and immediately speeds out of there. To this day, neither of them like to talk about it, and neither of them are quite sure what exactly they witnessed. In our number 1 spot today we have Johann Georg Faust. According to the stories passed down about this man, it is said that he was an alchemist and astrologer who lived in Germany during the 1500s. It is said that in his plight to become the smartest man in the world while also enjoying as many earthly pleasures as possible, he summoned the help of a demon named Mephistopheles. I thought that that was just one of the cats from Cats, but apparently not. Anyways, there are terrible stories about how cruel and truly evil this man was, and as a professor, it is said he looked down on everyone else because he thought he was smarter than them. Local priests apparently believed that he had actually made a deal with the devil, and that his pet dog was actually a demon who was able to shapeshift. What's most interesting about this is that during his life, he did publish several grimoires, and in 1540, while conducting some sort of alchemaic experiment, his laboratory exploded. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have Ed. When Tammy was a kid, her and her sister would often use Ouija boards, and it always seemed that they would end up communicating with the same spirit who was named Ed. Ed apparently wasn't super nice because he would continually threaten their younger brother during this time, and he was never with them during the times that they were using the board, so it was definitely weird. Eventually they got creeped out enough that they got rid of the board and just put Ed behind them. A few years later, when their little brother got older, he had used a Ouija board with his friend a couple of times, and he came home to tell his older sisters a story that had him freaked out. He explained that every time him and his friend used the board, there kept being a spirit named Ed who was threatening him. Apparently their mother ended up banning the use of Ouija boards in their house, which really is the right move. In our number 9 spot today we have The Book. Okay, so what if I told you that someone out there really thought it was a good idea to write a book that is for children, but it tells them how to summon demons? I mean, listen, for years there's been urban legends like Bloody Mary and Charlie Charlie, which of course tell us instructions on how to summon those respective demons, but urban legends are part of being a child. It's spooky stories to share amongst friends, but this book really takes things to an entirely new level. Many who are more well versed in the worlds of witchcraft and the paranormal have explained that this book, written by Aaron Layton, is basically a grimoire. It contains 72 different demons that can be conjured by those who read it for their own personal gain, which is basically the definition of black magic. The book not only includes these sort of cute drawings of creepy demons, but it also includes the symbols for each demon, which some have warned is also a very bad sign. In our number 9 spot today we have The Room. This story comes from an anonymous source, but we'll call them Alex. Alex and their fiance, who we'll call Sam, were given a Ouija board that their friend had apparently found on the side of the road, which I feel like is the worst place to find a new Ouija board. Alex and Sam decided to use it one night and began to ask questions. They asked who was with them and if they were an angel, demon, or spirit. It replied that their name was Mo and that they were a demon by your creation. Alex and Sam were obviously freaked out and just asked a few more simple questions, like what is your favorite poster of ours on the wall? Mo. Mo replied with bloody mess. Alex and Sam had a kiss photo with Gene Simmons on it that had blood everywhere on it. Alex pointed to that poster and asked, "This one?" Mo said yes. Alex and Sam had a few skeleton heads that sat on their TV, so they asked Mo to move the skeleton heads so that they could have proof Mo was real. Mo said to close their eyes, so they did. A few seconds later, all of the skulls on the TV had moved to be facing them. Only Sam and Alex were in the room at the time, and they had been sitting right next to each other, which would have made it impossible for one of them to be pranking the other. In our number 7 spot today, we have Niccolo Paganini. Niccolo was a professional violinist who was born in 1782. His parents began to send him to lessons when he was just 5 years old, and by age 15 he was already touring the world because he was so talented. What's interesting about Niccolo and his story, other than his obvious musical genius however, is the rumors surrounding his talent and subsequent recognition. According to some, people believe that his own mother summoned the devil in order for her son to be the extreme talent that he is. There are many modern diagnoses that could potentially explain some of what made Niccolo so talented, and I mean, we all know quite well that sometimes people are just born with extreme talent, but of course in the early 1800s, people in their imagination certainly ran wild. The final reason why people believe he may have made a deal with the devil is because shortly before his death, he was quite sick. The doctors had a feeling he was nearing death, so they sent in a priest to pray over him. When he first saw the priest, it is said that he freaked out and sent the priest away. Many people believe that him pushing the priest away was only a confirmation of the fact that he was working with the devil. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Lady Ghost Demon. This story comes from the Reddit user 7-Leg Spider, and they really just dive in. Basically, for several years, Spider saw what they thought was just a lady ghost every night at the door of the closet. It happened for so long that Spider just got used to it and even started saying goodnight to her. Spider says she didn't look bad or rotten, she was just a lady with pale skin and dark hair. Anyway, after a few years of this, Spider finally tells a friend at school about the lady. He of course didn't believe the story right away, but the next day at school he tells Spider that this lady tried to hurt him while he was sleeping. Now Spider didn't believe the friend and thought he was just playing a prank. Some more time goes by and Spider decides to tell another friend about the lady, and the same thing happens where the next time she comes and tells Spider that the lady had tried to hurt her while she was sleeping. The first friend and the second friend didn't know each other, so it's not like they could have been conspiring, which made Spider believe his first friend was telling the truth. Then, a while after that, Spider is on a video chat with a friend and they're talking about the paranormal when they both see something run across the screen. They chalk it up to being a glitch, and Spider starts telling this friend about the lady, and then Spider begins to get extremely dizzy like they're about to pass out. After it goes away, Spider tells their friend that they're okay, and the friend replies that they were out of it for at least a full minute, and that he could feel that someone was there trying to hurt Spider. In the end, I'm just really glad that Spider and all of the friends ended up being okay, and I really hope they found a way to get rid of that demon lady.
Just what kind of animal are we looking at here? According to the uploader, it wasn't an animal. At least, not one he'd ever seen. Reddit user Corrine James posted the image along with a description reading, "EMT friend saw this 2 nights ago, turning his ambulance around at the end of a rural road. It was swaying and its eyes were glowing without the headlights. This was in central Kentucky." Now, interesting thing about Kentucky, it's the home of the Pope Lick monster, aka Goatman. So, a terrifying part man, part goat hybrid with glowing red eyes. I don't know, am I drawing the wrong connections here? Am I crying? I don't know, but what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Alright, so this video comes from a TikToker named Anelli_RG. Her actual name is Mariana. She took the footage at her church in Mexico. According to her, she always felt a strange, unsettling vibe whenever she was there. Nothing specific she could point to, just a general sense that something wasn't right. So one day she decided to record during Mass to see if she could capture anything unusual on camera, and she did. When she reviewed the footage, she noticed someone or something that she doesn't remember seeing in person at all. It stands out immediately. In her description, she said it wasn't a human, and honestly, it's hard to disagree. The figure looks pale with dark, almost hollow eyes, almost like some lifeless mask. It's not just a case of bad camera quality either. Everyone else in the shot looks completely normal, so what's going on with this ghoulish looking figure. What would you do if you were working overnight security and saw this person show up on your surveillance camera? I say person, but I mean, look at her, it looks more like a zombie to me. So, a school in Mexico, this security guard was on an overnight shift when he looked at the surveillance camera by the entrance of the building and saw this unsettling looking person staring up at the camera trying to get inside. The glowing eyes, the unusually long looking arms, this is not what I would want to see trying to break into my workplace in the middle of the night. Again, I'd think a zombie invasion was breaking out. This image was posted to Reddit by Dystopia321, who wrote, "This is a camera set up in the woods. Set up to take photos when it senses movement. Main purpose is to take photos of deer and other wildlife. There were no people that could be in the woods at the time, and it had to have been moving to set off the camera. What is this?" Well, I can't say exactly what it is, but I can say it doesn't look good. A rake, a skinwalker, wendigo, golem. All possible identities mentioned in the comments, and I don't know, those seem like good guesses to me. What a horrifying looking creature. Could it be some extra tall, thin, pale person skulking through the forest alone in the middle of the night? Sure. But that's not really a comforting thought either, is it? What do you all think of this one? This one legitimately gave me chills, because it took me a few seconds staring at the image before I saw it, but when I did, yeah, just no thank you. Reddit user OrangeFood87 shared the picture saying that back in 2012, their roommate received the image from her boyfriend. He was working at a body shop after hours and snapped a photo of this totaled car that had just been brought into the shop. He was alone at the time and didn't see the eerie figure until he looked back at the photo. Apparently, he closed up early that night, and I can't say I blame him. This picture was taken at the South Pittsburgh Hospital by Reddit user Just Okay at Life, who wrote, "Taken in the second-story shadow hall where they report a 7-foot-tall shadow figure. This was taken at the end of the night. There was one other guy with me, and he was in front of me to the left. He had the flashlight, so there's no way this shadow was either of ours. If you have a chance and you happen to be in Tennessee, I highly recommend visiting this place. Earlier in the night, I was walking down a dark hallway alone on the first floor, and from the left side of me, there was a doorway where I heard a hissing sound shoot out of one of the rooms, moving towards me. It was an incredible experience. Incredible experience, that's one way of putting it. Our final clip today comes from Saudi Arabia. YouTuber Adventures Jassim79 was doing what he does best, exploring a creepy abandoned place. This time he was walking through an old rundown house, and when he got to the roof, he caught something incredibly chilling on camera. As he passes by a clothesline, through a small opening between sheets, this ghoulish face with pure black eyes appears. Just as fast as it shows up though, it thankfully vanishes. Yeah, I'd be praying too if I saw that face poking out at me. Seeing as this is in Saudi Arabia, many viewers have commented that this could be more than just a ghost, but a jinn. Spirit-like beings from Muslim tradition that can be invisible, shapeshift, and sometimes exhibit a more classical kind of demonic behavior, tormenting people or in some cases, even possessing them. Genuine or not though, it's a pretty creepy video.